Alright, so we're approaching the final week now for the official release of Netflix's adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But before that, we have a ton of new promo footage that we'll go over in today's video, such as the behind the scenes of the show, which showcases a lot of hidden Easter eggs and so on that you might have missed at first glance, as well as a first look at Avatar Kyoshi and some new looks at Bumi and Omashu. Welcome to Creative Caution, I'm your host Aladdin. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my Avatar videos. Alright, so there's a ton of new things in this behind the scenes video that I want to briefly go over, but for starters, let's go over how we can hear Gaiwan Dio, who's playing Katara, doing the opening monologue for the show.
The four nations used to live in harmony, but everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
We'd hear Katara's opening monologue in every episode in the cartoon version, so if anything, I'd be quite shocked if we didn't hear Katara's monologue in every episode for this live action. However, if we don't hear it this time around, it's no biggie, but it just felt iconic in a sense, giving that little history right before the episode would start. Now, one big change that might have some fans getting used to is Daniel Day Kim as Ozai. Now, appearance-wise, he looks amazing and intimidating. He looks perfect, right? However, we get our first scene of him talking, and the voice actor of Ozai from the original series, Mark Hamill, to this version of Ozai are completely two different voices. The one in the cartoon series had a more serious, deep tone to it compared to Daniel's here. There's nothing wrong with Daniel's voice either. It will just take some time getting used to his version the moment we see him on screen. But in this scene, we hear him saying,
"Have I not led us to the brink of bringing the entire world under one rule? Our rule."
Implying that if it's not the Fire Nation way, then there's no way. This could be a scene where he's talking to some of his generals and colleagues about what he hopes to accomplish. Also, it does look like it's taking place in the throne room as well, which is where we'll most likely see him throughout the first season, since he won't be going out of his way to chase down Aang and his friends anytime soon. We also get some new looks at some of the main locations, such as Omashu and the Southern and Northern Water Tribe. However, both Omashu and the Northern Water Tribe look like they're going to be playing a larger role in this show compared to the animated one. Now, in Omashu itself, we'll be seeing the Mechanist and his son Theo there instead of the Northern Air Temple, which is where we met them originally in the first place. Most likely, the sudden change for this would have to be the pacing for the episodes. The cartoon was able to jump from one location to the other with the gang, and everything worked fine because we didn't think too much about it, but in a live action format, that just wouldn't work. You need those moments where they're going to set up their next point and where they're going to go and just how they're going to get there. I mean, for example, look how that turned out for the final season of Game of Thrones. It didn't go well, but we also see Katara and Sokka with the Mechanist here, and we've already been teased several times regarding this whole group interacting with one another earlier in the season. Now, Omashu looks great. It legit resembles a lot to the animated show, and I think they got the overall look down perfectly. Now, here's a new scene that wasn't seen in the animated show, which is Aang and Zuko at Omashu together. I'm not quite sure why Zuko is at Omashu, but we see next where he's telling Aang that he's an enemy of the Fire Nation and then quickly gets ready to have a little fight with him. We also see another scene of Zuko with Iroh this time, so I'm guessing that this will occur before Zuko and Aang have their little scuffle. Again, not sure why these two are at Omashu since they weren't seen in the original one, but if anything, this could be a scene where Zuko gets intel that Aang and his friends are heading there, so he sets sail in hopes of crossing paths with him there. We get some more scenes from the first episode of the Southern Water Tribe, along with some of the new shots of Zuko arriving there too. In this first shot, looks like Katara and Sokka have returned home after discovering Aang, but it looks like Sokka is also getting ready to defend the tribe here after hearing that Zuko and his men have arrived. We even see this in the next scene where Sokka is wearing his armor and getting ready to confront Zuko and his men. Katara might be telling Sokka not to go out, but knowing Sokka, he just won't listen. Also, we've seen this outfit of Sokka's in a variety of images and videos, but we also get our first look at Sokka and Zuko having their fight. Unfortunately, Sokka's getting his ass handed to him, but what did you expect? This is Zuko here. We also see the volume in the background, which is making all the scenery for the show. It honestly looks great too, like the whole scenery looks realistic and genuine. However, there were some shots that kind of looked iffy, like this one here with Iroh in the back, but then again, this isn't even the final result. They'll most likely polish it by the time the show comes out, so I'm not worried that much. Also, we see the main gate for the Southern Water Tribe in the background there. Doesn't quite look the same as the polished still images we got a while back ago, but that's for sure the gate we see Sokka posing for some of these promos. Now, we also get our first look at the Northern Water Tribe here. It looks like this will be the scene where Zhao and his men arrive alive, and Aang is getting ready to defend it against him. There's people running in the back, so this could be that scene where everyone is panicking. We also see the scale of the Northern Water Tribe, which looks beautiful. We finally get our first look at Master Pakku right here. It was hard to spot him at first due to the camera hiding him, but as it slowly moved away, we could finally see him. Also, this might be the scene where Katara and Pakku have their little fight. Katara's hair seems to be all messy here, which is the same look from the animated show, so this might be when those two have their duel. Here's also another shot of Katara waterbending, which looks to be in the Northern Water Tribe as well. This could either be her displaying her abilities in front of Pakku, or she's having a fight with him. We get another shot of the Northern Water Tribe, and this time we get to see a different view of it. All the way in the back there, we see the royal palace where Princess Yui lives. Now I am kind of surprised we haven't seen her yet in any of these promos. Looks like the show is saving her until the show comes out. Finally, we see Zuko and Katara having their 1v1, and we've already seen this in the trailer, but this will take place towards the end of the season up in the Northern Water Tribe. So we get another look at Azula here, and it looks like that she might be doing some lightning bending in the Fire Nation. If that's the case, I'm actually shocked that the show will show her lightning right away. I'd assume that they'd save that moment to showcase to new viewers just how skilled Azula is compared to her brother. We even just got this brand new image of Azula, Ozai, and Zuko in the throne room, and we see Azula doing some lightning bending. So it looks like the show will go full throttle on showcasing her ability this first season. But regarding Azula though, I don't think we'll see Azula outside the Fire Nation just yet. I think the show for now will keep her in the Fire Nation and tease us that she'll be the next big threat for Aang coming season 2. Now we get a little humor from Zuko and Iroh here.
Have you got a plan yet?
The plan is to go in and capture the Avatar once and for all.
So no plan.
I'm working on it, Uncle.
Kinda giving me the vibe that we'll see a different tone between these two in this live action. I don't think that's a problem either. I quite like the little humor between the two. Gives them more depth for their characters and displays Iroh's love for Zuko and wanting the best for him. So hopefully we'll see more scenes like this moving forward. Now there were a ton of other short scenes in this behind the scenes video, some of which we've already seen before, such as the gang visiting Kyoshi Island and Aang interacting with Kyoshi's statue, along with just flying around on Appa. However, we do also get some new shots of some of the cast bending and all. We see someone here doing some earth bending, which looks good. We get another scene of Aang airbending, which might be taking place at Kyoshi Island, and he's just showing his abilities to the kids there. We see Katara doing some water bending as well, which looks like this might be a scene where she's fighting with Zuko, since we got a little snippet of those two fighting in the woods a while back ago. We also hear Suki's mom Yukari scream out, "Where's the Avatar?" which looks like it'll be the scene where Zhao and his men get into a fight with the Kyoshi warriors. Overall, there were several other scenes that were just different angles from the trailer that we saw a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so we got another Zuko journal entry. We'll call it number 2 now. But this time, he's talking about how every generation or so, there's an individual who's able to master all 4 elements. As one avatar dies, they're reincarnated into the next nation, which in this case is Aang. Now, while he's talking about that, we get this shot of some of the statues of some of the previous avatars where their eyes start to glow, which only occurs when the current avatar goes into the avatar state. We've seen this several times in the animated show where Aang would go into the avatar state and the eyes of the previous avatars, whether it's a statue or whatnot, would start to glow. Now it looks like we have Avatar Korok on the far right here. In the middle, I can't tell exactly who that is, so let me know in the comments if you have any ideas who that might be. On the far left there, we see Avatar Kyoshi, and then finally at the top, we see Avatar Yangchen. Kinda interesting how it stopped at Avatar Yangchen, giving the hint that the next avatar is an airbender as well. Now we also got this 10-second promo video which was first seen on Facebook. There are some new scenes in this video, so I'll quickly go over them. In the first scene here, we hear Aang talking to Zuko, telling him,
I'm the one you're looking for.
This will be the first episode of the season, right when Zuko starts causing trouble at the Southern Water Tribe. This will cause Aang to reveal himself to Zuko. In the next few shots, we see Zuko firebending at someone. We see a mysterious person end up getting splashed by water, which I'm guessing might be due to Katara. We see some air nomads, which will most likely be the scenes when the Fire Nation attacks the Southern Air Temple. Now this next one is something I didn't expect, which is seeing Avatar Kyoshi. I knew she was going to be cast for the show, but I'm surprised that we're seeing her like this. But we can see that she's in the Avatar state, so maybe Aang is controlling her here or whatnot. We get a small snippet of Ozai and Zuko's Agni Kai, which looks very promising here. We get our first look at what seems to be Monk Gyatso fighting off some firebenders. And lastly, we get a shot of Zuko reflecting what looks to be a plate. And the setting seems to be at To Omashu with the background here. Could be the scene where we saw earlier where he confronts Aang at To Omashu. Now in this final video, we get a little more look inside To Omashu along with Bumi. In this first shot here, it looks like the gang is being smuggled into To Omashu. Quite different from the animated show, since in that version, Aang disguises himself as an old guy, while Katara and Sokka would act as his grandchildren. In this version, we see Sokka and Aang in the back here, and it looks like Katara might be sitting up in the front of the carriage. But we see some earthbenders opening up the gate of Omashu, or wall in this case. We get some more shots of Aang gliding around with Theo, and it looks really good too. We get a new look at Bumi all dressed up here. Now for a man who's pushing 112 years old, he looks quite great. Not sure who those folks are behind him, but I'm guessing they might be some of his generals or commanders that he keeps around. We see some new scenes of Bumi and Aang having their one-on-one fight, and it's quite crazy to see Bumi lunge up that high in the air to kick a rock. If anything, this scene alone just makes me excited to see how Bumi performs in the live action. He was one of the characters that I was concerned the most for due to his age and all, but it does seem like the show has got his overall appearance, personality, and fighting style down. We get another look at Iroh using some chains that are on fire to defend against some earthbenders here, giving me vibes of Kratos as he swings that chain around. Now my favorite scene out of this whole video would have to be this one here. The fact that we see Omashu this high in the sky is quite intimidating. I mean, look at that tiny ass bridge right there. All those folks are most likely trying to come into the city as well. But that's not the point. The point is, we see Sokka and Katara riding on the chutes on the delivery system, which I was praying that we would see. So if anything, I'm still crossing my fingers that we see Aang and Bumi riding on the chutes later in the episode. Now, I'm not quite sure why the two jump off the chutes, but if I had to take a guess, it might be because of Zuko also appearing at Omashu, so he might be targeting the whole gang here to get to Aang. Alright, so that's everything we have right now regarding all the new footage. If I missed anything or didn't speak about something, let me know in the comments below and I'll bring it up in my next Avatar video. So far, everything about the show has looked promising, and we're only a couple of days away now from the actual release. Now, if there's any video ideas that you want me to go over, let me know in the comments below and I can start working on those before the show releases. Netflix will most likely drop one more trailer before the show airs, and it might just be a small little teaser like the ones we've been getting so far. If anything, they might even showcase Princess Yui, Master Pakku, and Mei and Ty Lee, since most fans have been wondering why we haven't seen them yet. But check out my other Avatar videos after this one. I'll post those videos here at the end. I'll have way more Avatar content as the show nears its release, so make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of these. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications for future uploads. Thank you all once more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.